Soul Garden.
From my smartphone to yours, I love casting live from my little Zen den in Costa Mesa, California. And this is your Thursday Namaste Today. Good day and namaste, and welcome to Namaste Today. My name is Christopher Oteki. I am a psychic astrologer and the Sensei to serious joy. My soul mission is to stand in my heart and Sensei people into the light. Thank you so much for joining my show. This webisode is for Thursday, October 22nd, 2015, and today is the final Grandmaster step of Libra, step 29. So step 29, doesn't matter what we're talking about, whether it's the sun at step 29, Mercury at step 29, any of the planets at step 29. The 29th step is the Grandmaster step. It is the most difficult step, and if I ever have a client that has a planet at that step, I always just kind of bow to them and say, good luck, we'll see when this is over. Because step 29 is when we take it to the highest degree. Now the architecture of incarnation is I feel it, and I act on what I feel. Step 2 is I feel. Step 9 is I act on, or I become, I am, right? So this is when we act on what we feel, all right? Step 29 is when people act out, when people break down at times, okay? Step 29, I think, is that final. I think step 29 is any actor or actress in a good scene. They're at step 29. They are acting as they feel, so they're in perfect performance, perfect harmony. You are online when you are acting how you feel. You are 100% you. You are 100% authentic when you allow yourself to act like how you feel. Now, most human beings hold themselves back from acting how they feel because usually that ends up in trouble, here included. The reason is because our feelings are littered with so much shift. Okay, so if you act on how you feel, it's like, even I, Sensei Serious Joy, there are times when I feel like doing harm. Like to something. It's not always, but every now and then I'll feel that way, so I can't act on that, right? So we have to reserve our feelings. We can't always act on our feelings. We have to set everything up, 28 steps before we act on our feelings. And today, we are indeed to act on our feelings. Now, the interesting thing about step 29, and this is the system that I discovered from doing astrology for 10 years now, doing astrology, watching the masses, getting social feedback, predicting, getting social media feedback. I really have been able to fine-tune my formula. This is a day where everyone, I don't care how good you are at everything, everyone, even the pros, fall off the bicycle on step 29 day. You realize what's not ready. So step 29 is mostly a failure degree. I would say mostly. I would say when the Wright brothers tried an airplane and it crashed, that's a step 29 attempt, right? When Elon Musk, tries a self-landing rocket in Texas and it crashes, that's a step 29 attempt. When we land on the moon successfully, that's a step 29 attempt, okay? They're all master attempts. It's okay if you fail, but it's really cool if you don't. Okay, you know what I mean? So how it adds is this. The architecture of incarnation is the 2 and the 9, you add those to 11, so you end up being a Virgo. So really, you can get an idea of what a Virgo is. A Virgo can be an 11 or Virgo can be a 29. Either way, a Virgo, even as 11, is pretending to be a 29, worrying at a 29. And so it really kind of begs the question for today's topic, which is how to master balance. How does one master balance? And I say that both from us being at the end of Libra, and I say it from anytime anybody is on that 29-degree wheel where they have to emulate as an 11, all right? And really, the architecture of incarnation reveals exactly how one does it. The truth is it's really a stack of consciousness. So, when I teach this stuff, you might go, where is Chris going with all this? Well, imagine if you were a yogi in India and you want to walk on hot coals. Okay, what I'm talking about is the consciousness inside of us, how we architect our consciousness inside of us to pull off amazing things, to do amazing things, right? In this case, step 29 is the ability to pull it off, and in Libra, we're going to try to pull off perfect balance. So how does one do that? How do you walk on hot coals? How do you stay in perfect balance? My joke is, and I'll get to this, but my joke is always like, what is Gandhi saying to himself when he's on the railroad tracks and the train is coming? I'm curious, what was he saying to himself? Right? And we'll get back to that, because I think the architecture of incarnation tells us what we ought to say to ourselves. All right? So the step 29 is we are feeling on what we act. So we're putting into action how we feel today. All right? And that's everyone. And so in the architecture of incarnation, we want to stay in balance. Well, to stay in balance, I think 29 teaches how to stay in balance, and that is to add it up to the 11, which is I love and I love. So basically, what one has to do is be conscientious of their love for themselves, the first one, and also, once again, another time, loving themselves. And you might go, what? Well, think of it this way. If you're going to walk on a tight wire across the Grand Canyon, or like whatever that film is out right now between the dude that walks between high buildings in New York City, I saw that commercial. I'm like, no, thank you. I have a fear of heights. I'm not watching that film. But the point is, if you were to high wire across that, or if you're going to cross hot coals, or if you're going to go ask the person you're in love with, do you want to marry them? Okay? If you have to get from point A to point B and you don't want to lose your balance, the architecture of incarnation says this is what you do. You pay attention to I love and I love. In other words, you are mindful of your heart. Your heart is telling you. What am I listening to? The quiver of my heart in this moment. The quiver of my heart. What am I listening to as I'm walking across hot coals? The quiver of my heart. Not my feet hurting. Not my feelings. Not my mom talking to me that this is a stupid idea. Okay? The quiver of my heart. The one. All right? Now the other one, you might go, well, what's the other one? Well, it's your heart and what your heart is attempting to do. So my heart is attempting to walk forward, so it's the quiver of my heart and the next step. The quiver of my heart and the next step in the goal, crossing the hot coals. The quiver of my heart and the next step of my heart going up to talk to him, or going up to talk to her, or going to do, to pull off what seems to be the impossible. So really, it's step by step. You're listening to the quiver of your heart. Okay? Now, when you listen to quiver, 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 quiver of your heart over and over, frame by frame by frame, that's the 1 + 1 makes 2. 2 is emotion. Now your heart is in motion. Your energy is in motion. You are paying attention to your energy and motion. So the art of balance is to listen to our feelings or our heart quivering as we move in our motion. Our heart will tell us to take a baby step to the right. Our heart will tell us to stop. Our heart will tell us to proceed. Now you may go, well, that sounds like really risky. Yeah, it's step 29. It's a grandmaster step. If you're not ready, don't try it. That's what I'll say right now. Like, don't try it. But today, Christopher, everyone's at 29. I know. Everyone gets thrown up on the bike. Everyone gets thrown up on stage. Doesn't matter where you are. And you will find out, indeed, if this works for you. So your 5 o'clock question today is, what do you feel like inside when you are out of balance? What do you feel like when you're out of balance? What's that feel like? Can you recall? All right. And then the follow-up is, can you recall a time when you were in balance? What did that feel like? All right. And to answer my own questions, when I'm out of balance, I feel anxiety. I'm in my mind for sure. I definitely feel like the sweats. I feel dehydrated, I think, like this feeling of dehydration. When I'm out of balance, I feel lost space and time. A lot of these weird, it's definitely kind of like I lose track of space and time when I'm out of balance. Like, really, I don't know what happens, but I definitely can recognize that feeling. Now, what does it feel like when I'm in balance? When I'm in balance, I feel amazing, and actually I feel nothing. Everything feels absolutely calm. I'm aware of everything, but everything is fine. And if anything, I'm kind of bored. I'm kind of bored and looking to disrupt the balance, to be honest with you. But I do recognize the feeling of what imbalance feels, and that's what it feels like for me. So today, my friends, as you are getting up on that bicycle of balance at step 29 Libra, this is the Grandmaster final step with yourself. This is the mirage transit. Tomorrow we begin step 0 of Scorpio. But today, the recipe is to listen to your heart and listen to your heart a bit more, and to allow your feelings to be what judges the balance. And if you recall what balance feels like, try to call yourself into that feeling as you were attempting the balance. So I remember what that feeling feels like, so before I walk the tight wire, I'm going to remember that feeling and call it up. So we use that memory of feeling to also guide us. So speaking of guidance, let's lock into my higher self and see what my guides and your guides have to say with some planetary information. I just heard a bird. You guys hear that bird? It's talking to me. So, I'm just like, really? Again? Okay, so I was in meditation. It was funny. So I don't know if you guys heard that, like, almost crow sound, but my head, it kind of came as like, because I was like, really? And when I said really in my head, the crow came in. So for me, things like that happen. And I had to do with Jupiter. They point me to Jupiter. We've been talking about Jupiter all week, it seems like. And that's why I was like, really? We're going to talk Jupiter again? Well, yes. Jupiter has moved to step 15 today. Now, what that means is that today, Jupiter at step 15 Virgo. Now, what Jupiter is doing, to give you guys a little bit of backstory, is that Jupiter, for the first time in 12 years, that means human beings are reinventing what reality is. Can reality be good? Can reality be bad? How's the highest it can go? What's the lowest it can go? What's the definition of reality? Does magic exist? Do ghosts exist? Like all this, okay? Jupiter in Virgo updates your consciousness as to whether or not this will be for the next 12 years. Jupiter has now reached step 15. That's halfway. Step 15 is the Grandmaster step of Libra. So Jupiter has reached the point where Jupiter is saying, okay, we're halfway built with the new reality, the new ideas. So basically this is the foundation of the new reality. And Jupiter is saying, what is balance in this new reality? Let's define step 15. What is this step defined as? So in this Grandmaster step of Libra, we're actually beginning to define what balance is. And that's kind of scary because we're defining balance at the last minute. What that means is this is a conversation that will go on for about 10 to 15 days, not just this Grandmaster day, as to what balance is, what balance isn't. You're going to find that with Sun and Scorpio, there were things that we frankly needed to shut out in the first place to keep balance in our life. So even though we're trying to keep balance in our life, there are things we're going to have to just cut out, and that happens when the sun goes into Scorpio. The other thing they bring me to is holy shift. Saturn has now moved to step 3 in Sagittarius. What's profound about that is step 3 is the Grandmaster step of Sagittarius. Sagittarius is ruled by 3 or 3 rules Sag, however you want to look at it. So having Saturn at 3 means that the very fundaments of people's beliefs are being set now. Saturn will not go back to 3 again. It already went back and retrograded. So this is it. People are sewing up what they believe. Now this human transit is once every 29 years. So once every 29 years, human beings decide what they believe. So what's happening here, you can see very clearly, is that as we define what master of balance is, master of relationship is, we are at the same time defining the seeds of what our beliefs are and defining what we believe reality is and what fair and balanced reality is. And this is happening all with your ability to balance today. So today the moon is in Aquarius, so that means that people actually have the ability to kind of turn down the volume of their feelings and push them away. This means that some people can be cold-hearted bitches to you, FYI, just so you know. But that might be because you were in the way of their balance, or because they were just too, disconnected, and they'll come back online tomorrow. So don't take anything personally today. Everyone really needs to do just not that, like to really sit back and just try to pull off integrity as best you can. Okay, I think that's where I'm going to leave us for today, because I want to get on to Friday's show, and I don't want these to be too long. I really am so grateful to start my day with everyone. A lot of people tell me they start their day with me, and I'm so grateful. That's precisely what I was hoping this show would do, is kind of give you a spiritual beat for the day and some practical goals that you can, they can get you to the next one. Because I know that there are days when it's just like you're just trying to get to the next day. And so I'm really hoping that that is what it is for you. Or if you're coasting and flying high, let me be part of the wind beneath your wings, literally, to quote Bette Midler, Sagittarius. So, my friends, thank you so much. Remember to come on down to soulgarden.tv if you'd like to leave a comment or if you'd like to see some added content that I have. Once you register, that unlocks. And if you'd like to follow me on Twitter, I am at Siwateki. I'll see you in 24 hours with more, my friends. Until then, remember, I love you, and live, love, be.